to take this time out to, take this little step towards supporting your students, our students, to develop the critical life skills which align with the mission of Shiminli to create global citizens. To talk about Shiminli, we are an initiative where you would find solutions to deliver skill-based education into your classrooms. We have facilitators sitting across the globe who partner with you in taking this journey of life skills education in your day-to-day teaching practices. Shiminli facilitators deliver these lessons to school students from grades 1 to 12 based on a very well-structured curriculum, which is inspired by the Harvard, UNESCO, the World Economic Forum, and so on. Shimin is a Japanese word that means citizen. And in this endeavor to create global citizens, we planned to wish to collaborate to as many educators who carry the similar idea. And one such opportunity is now the day-to-day of the webinar. So let me talk about the webinar a bit today. Writing is a powerful means of communication, helps one express, helps to organize thoughts and think critically. And today at this forum, we wish to discuss practical strategies for guiding students in developing their writing abilities, unlocking their creative potential. We intend to share certain tips on inspiring students, overcoming the writer's block, and refining their writing skills. The session today is going to focus on cultivating the essential approaches to learning skills. I'm sure all the IB educators would get this term right, including the creative thinking, social communication, and self-management skills. Teachers can facilitate creative thinking by encouraging students to ask what-if questions, consider multiple alternatives, and explore unlikely or impossible ideas. We look forward to gain insights into fostering positive interpersonal relationships and collaboration among students, as well as effective communication skills for expressing ideas clearly and logically in both small and large groups. Additionally, we will also discuss how to help students with their self-management skills, such as maintaining an organized and logical system for documenting and learning, using time effectively and appropriately. And to bring all of this to our table today, we have Ms. Loris Rodrigues, who is an expert talking about this through her experience with over a decade as a PYP facilitator. She has cultivated a student-learning-centric environment. She has recently expanded her expertise by qualifying as a NEASC accreditation school visitor and assuming the position of literacy coordinator at her school. Through her experience with the PYP curriculum and project-based learning, her teaching approach has evolved to prioritize inquiry and service, resulting in a maker-centered classroom driven by these practices. As a progressive and constructivist educator, she firmly believes in empowering students to take ownership of their learning so that they develop into responsible individuals who are independent and lifelong learners. Throughout her career, she has created learning environments for diverse student groups through differentiated, creative, and thought-provoking units. And let me hand over the stage to Loris to give us a few insights. Loris, please.
Thank you, Ruchira. Thank you for that very detailed introduction of me. Welcome, everybody. I am Loris. I can't seem to go to the next page. Oh, here it is. So aside from, that very detailed introduction by Ruchira, I am also, on a personal note, I am also a mom, and I am currently homeschooling my two children, a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. And I also have a blog and I have a YouTube channel, and unfortunately I haven't updated that, but it is something that I really want to get back to. It is, one of the passions that I have. I love reading and I love writing. So this is something that's really close to my heart. And then of course, I'm an IB PYP educator, literacy coordinator, and NEASC accreditation school visitor. So that's all in my CV, but really I'm just a mom who loves to read and write. And I hope that, you really get something out of this session today. And I just wanted to share also that I really wanted to work with Shiminli because I believe in their vision, in wanting to help teachers and give them some strategies or some guidance. So I'm trying to go to the next slide and it won't let me. Uh-oh. Can I go to the next slide? Oh, okay. Okay, so before we get to the heart of this of the session today, these are the top tips that I have. And the first tip is an advice that I usually give to my colleagues and to my friends. And it is also an advice that I follow myself. And it is that I do it first, or that you do it first. So whatever it is that we are going to learn today, or whatever it is that I ask my students to do, I make sure that I do it first. And that way I get to experience, whatever it is, or the process that my students will experience in their writing or in their reading. And that just makes me more empathetic towards their struggles. And I realized that I could help them better because I understand, the experience that they are going to have or having when they are writing. The next tip is that we keep using pen and paper. And I know that we have moved to a lot of digital notebooks and, different online apps for taking notes, but there is a lot of research on how creativity helps, when we are trying to write or come up with ideas. And so let's keep using paper and pen. And I hope that all of you have a paper and pen handy, and just get ready to jot down notes. So anywhere I go, I always have, like a notebook, a small notebook I carry around, but I also have a medium-sized notebook that I carry around, and I jot down notes and ideas anywhere I go. Okay. Oh, next slide. Oh,
Are you not able to move to the next slide, Loris?
No, I can't.
You're presenting, you should be able to.
Oh, there you go. I guess
Yeah.
there's just a lag. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here, I just wanted on the get-go, share the resources that I have. So these are two of the articles that I read to support how handwriting is still really good for coming up with ideas and brainstorming. And I hope you guys enjoy this article as much as I did, just to support that handwriting is still essential. Here and then, we need to keep something that we can just jot down notes. Although I use my phone apps a lot, when I am trying to take notes and all. And down here, Shanta Grimes, she's also one of the resources that I use for this presentation. When I was in my personal journey of writing, I came across her. She is an author, and she is now helping other individuals to become better writers or to become authors. So these are the three things that I thought, guys would benefit from, aside from the other ones. So let's get into it. This session is really about empowering you, and it is about giving you some strategies that you can use to help your students develop ATL skills through writing. And so just a quick question, and I'm really curious, on the chat, just write down, what skills do you think students are developing when we talk about writing? What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you say writing? What do you think is the skill that students are learning? If you're not familiar with the IB curriculum, these are the 5 ATL skills. All right. Oh, thank you. Imagination, critical thinking, 6+1 traits. Hi, Priyadarshini. Thinking skills, communication. Oh, this is really good. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And so it is so common, and so is it common and easy to associate writing with communication skills, because at the end, we're thinking that we have a message to convey and we just want to communicate that. But really, through writing, we can develop all of the ATL skills. So, like I said, I hope you guys have a paper and pen. We are going to do it first. I want you guys to list your favorite authors or your favorite story, your favorite books. Maybe you have a personal, a favorite setting or a favorite character. Just make a list down. If you can remember all of them, just write them down. I remember this one setting that I really enjoyed, or one of my favorite setting is from my favorite book, The Book Thief. So this is one of my favorite ones. And the setting here is from a train. And in the train, hold on, Okay, here it is. Anyone who's read this book, this is one of my favorite books. So there is a setting here in the train where the characters were introduced. And I thought the way that was written and the way that the author described the whole setting, it was just so beautiful. So this is one of my favorite books right here. All right, everyone ready? Everyone has listed down their favorite authors and books and characters. So remember, anything that we want our students to do, just try it first. You do it first so that you know their experiences. Yeah. Okay. So just put that list on the side. We're going to come back to that as we go on through the session. Okay, so here are the ATL skills, and you will notice that as we go through the session, the skills tend to overlap. Yeah. So here are the 5 ATL skills. And when we are talking about self-management skills, it is not something that we think about when we are writing, but self-management in writing, it is developed when we maintain a system of collecting and developing ideas. In thinking skills, it is also easy to think about we are developing creativity and we are developing their creative thinking skills, but critical thinking is also a part of writing, as you guys have mentioned. So I'm really happy to see that on the chat. Social skills is, aside from, collaborative writing and working with groups, working with friends, it is also about responding to others. And it is responding with empathy, but at the same time, being aware of our own emotions. So our students need to learn that. We would like to respond to others with empathy and being caring, but at the same time, we are also very aware that we have our own opinions and we have our own emotions. Communication skills is not just speaking or writing and making sure your message gets across. It is also about listening actively. So we're going to find out today how listening actively helps develop our writing skills also. All right, ATL number 1, self-management skills. So you will notice that on the left side of this presentation are the skills. So we have to be very specific and very intentional on what skills we want to develop when the students are writing. And so the reason why I left the background like this is because I would like to show you guys my journal. And this journal will talk about these 3 strategies that I have written here. So first thing is to create a routine. I know that, every day when we go to school, we have lunch break, snacks break, we have music class, dance class, math, reading. But I don't really see on the daily schedule that there is a writing routine. And that is because writing takes a long time. And so when I'm talking about creating a writing routine, it doesn't have to be 1 hour long. And from Shonda Grimes, that author that I shared with you earlier, she was the one who taught me or who shared with me a 10-minute writing sprint. So just for 10 minutes, write something, get a journal, get a piece of paper, and just write something down. So whatever you're writing or what your students are writing, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, something elaborate. It could be the weather. It could be, I don't know, a mug, something about the drink that they have, a water bottle that they saw, some kind of feelings that they are feeling that time. Set the timer for 10 minutes and just allow your students to write down whatever it is that comes in their mind. So remember, this is just about creating a routine. And as the student progresses in writing more and creating this routine, you will see how that will help them sit for longer periods of time and have more ideas when they are writing. The second strategy is keeping a journal. And when you're keeping a journal, you have to organize your journal. So I want to share with you how I organize my journal. Okay, so at the back of my journal, so this is the front and the back, I have what I call brain dump or idea dump. And so this is the part of my journal where I just write down all of my ideas. So in my own personal writing journey, I realized that when I am writing, there are more ideas that come in my mind, and I feel like, oh, wait a minute, that is something that I want to go back later and expand or add more. And so I go back here and I just write more ideas that I could come back later. And then you will see these little markers. I don't know if you guys can see, they're just paper clips actually. So I want to make sure my journal is lightweight so I can carry it anywhere. And then another part of my journal, it's really simple, right? Is what I call the brainstorming side. Here, brainstorm. So over here, when I feel like there's an idea that I want to expand, or I'm getting more ideas that I want to add to that, I now put that specific topic on the brainstorm and I just start adding more and expanding on that. And then the rest of the pages are basically my drafts. So when I'm ready to draft and I know that I have enough, to write, I now go to my drafting pages. And you will see here that I have my 10-minute writing sprint. So I just want to show you this 10-minute writing sprint as an example. And I would suggest, that the students write the dates. I like to write the dates so that I know the last time that I wrote in my journal. And if you guys can see, this is just something that I saw. The grass is green. There's breeze today. It's cool, warm breeze. The clouds are gray. And then as I keep writing down, and I'm just listing what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, maybe something that I could touch. It could be anything that, you can observe. It's not perfect, right? The ideas start to come some more, right? A teary-eyed in tears. It is the perfect weather for writers to write their masterpiece, and for singers too, and for pianists too, and for painters too, for mothers. So here at this point, these are just ideas right now. Like, I don't know what to write here yet, but it is something that I could write a little bit more later. And then you can see down here, if time could stand still and I freeze or dictate the weather. So these are like, word choice. I don't know which word I'm going to use yet. Again, it's just a 10-minute writing sprint. It's just to get me used to writing, jotting down notes, observing what's around me and feeling. And I have now my 10-minute writing sprint. So every day I have done this, and it's really amazing the results that I got from, doing this 10 minutes writing sprint. So imagine if you do this with the students, every day they have 10 minutes, just write down what you see, what you hear, what you feel, right? All right, so the last strategy here is to hold yourself or hold your students accountable. So if I want to make sure that I am managing my time and managing myself and making sure that I am writing and developing my writing, I have a log for the month. And this is the second picture right here. So I keep this log in my journal, so that every time I write something, if I do my 10-minute writing sprint, I plug it in here. Now I know that on the 1st of the month and 2nd of the month, I did not write anything. So then the 3rd, and then I skip again. So, I am keeping myself accountable, looking at this and thinking, wait a minute, I did not write for this many days. And I think I owe it to myself to keep writing, or to, if I skip a day or 2 days, then I need to keep writing that way. So this is how I hold myself accountable. All right, so here is our developing self-management skills. It's a system of collecting and developing your ideas. This is one of my favorite quotes, and it really got me through, setting that routine for me. Just write every day for the rest of your life, read intensely, then see what happens. This is by Ray Bradbury. And so here's my challenge for you today. How many 10-minute writing sprints can you do this week? And many of us, we feel like after school or after work, you don't have time to write, then maybe this is something that you can do with your students. Start the routine with your students. When you set the timer for 10 minutes for your students to write, you write with them. And now the entire class, including you, is part of the writing experience. But remember that, to do it first. ATL number 2, thinking skills. Okay. Again, we have to be very specific about the skills that we want to develop. And here are the strategies for developing thinking skills. Now, you will notice that what I'm talking about right now might be focusing more on creative writing, but as we go through the webinar, you will see that critical thinking is also being developed through writing. So read aloud. So it is important that we read aloud to our student. This is one of the biggest strategy that I use in my classroom. Students find inspiration through the books or through the stories that you are reading, or even through the articles, the nonfiction articles that you are reading with your students. So read aloud to them and have conversations about the book, have a conversation about the characters. And then the next strategy is what we call plus or minus. Allow your students to draw the characters or draw the settings, the plot, and then ask them to add something to the character. Maybe add a hat, or add a personality, or maybe remove the hat, or remove like different things, or add different things to the character or to the setting, and then see like what they can come up with. So you see how the children's imagination or their thinking will be developed because they are looking at it in different ways. So if you look at the skill, make unexpected or unusual connections between objects and or ideas. So this one connects with the third one. So if I'm looking at an object, how else can I look at this in a different perspective? So here I have this water bottle in this shape, but then also this is a different shape of water bottle altogether, right? And by looking at my mug, there are so many things that I could write about: the colors, like what characters, what feelings it has. I wonder, if this cup was during Harry Potter, in the Harry Potter story, what would they have done with the cup? So things like that, like, it gets them thinking, it gets them think about being creative about the things around them, right? So don't be scared to be ridiculous. And that is what's so wonderful about children. And I'm sure adults too, we daydream. So let's allow our students and allow ourselves to daydream and think about different scenarios and different things that we can add or remove in situations or characters or plot. Okay. I will use this. So when we have been thinking so much, we've been sitting for a long time, we are trying to finish the story, or I'm trying to finish in writing this article, this essay. Sometimes you're just like, I have enough and I really don't know what to write anymore. I don't know what to do. I need more ideas. So all of us need a dose of inspiration. So we're going to watch this short ad, and I want you guys to see what strategy did this ad show that gives the lady, the character here, an inspiration. Where is she getting her inspiration from? Okay.
Meet Tanya, who made her childhood dream of owning a Mercedes-Benz come true through Star Agility. It let her invest in her business and future. Safeguard her car from market risks and keep, return or upgrade to a newer model at the end of 3 years, because dreams need room to grow. Drive your dream.
All right. Did you guys see? What strategy do you think where she gets her inspiration from? If you guys just want to write it on the chat, or if you want to share it, just unmute yourself. I don't know if everyone can unmute, but.
Yes, everyone can.
Yeah. Should I play it again? Maybe you guys missed. What was the strategy that gave this character the inspiration, to get her dreams?
Reality through Star Agility. It let her invest in her business and future.
All right. So what do you think of this strategy? Okay. So it is a vision board. So everybody needs this, a dose of inspiration. And one of the things that I have used in my personal writing journey is I have a vision board in my room so that I can see it. Every time I feel like I don't know what to write, I am so tired of writing, I don't think I can write anymore, I collect these pictures that gives me inspiration, that inspires me to write or sparks an idea, right? So we can keep this and we can ask our students to collect all of these pictures or quotes from favorite books or favorite dialogues, favorite lines from characters, collect them, put them on the board so that, you know, they always have that dose of inspiration. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be on a board. It could be, it could also be, I don't know if I skipped a page. It could also be you collect these pictures and these quotes on a in your journal. So you just insert those pictures in your journal. So I don't have it here, but I do have in my other journal my favorite quotes by Ray Bradbury. So it's right here. So I have this other journal, and I actually have this journal this way because I used to collect a lot of those pictures. But I don't use this so much anymore because it could be heavy. Yeah. Okay, so here's the one. So insert pictures and quotes in your journal. And if you feel like I cannot do this anymore, I don't know what else to write, and take a break. You know, go for a nature walk. And research shows that when you see green or plants or anything that grows, it inspires creativity. So go for a run, for a swim, a hike, dance, sing, or paint. And I want to show you in my journal, I even have that quick reminder to myself, take a break, stretch, breathe, right? Or just take a break and have a Kit Kat. So have a chat with your friends. And sometimes during this time, you don't even have to talk. You can just listen. And I found myself that when I am just listening to someone, I get inspired by their stories, or I get touched by, you know, by their struggles or their challenges. And that gives me an idea to write, you know, the different things that I could write about. And if we are full of idea, like we have a source of inspiration, we know where to get our inspiration and our motivation from, then we now ask, what writer's block? I don't know what that is because we don't experience it. And I'm not saying that this is not real. It is very real. We get stuck sometimes. But what are the things that we can do so that our students don't have to say, I don't know what to write, or what can get them out of that muck, feeling like I am stuck and I don't know what to do next. So here's another thing that I have done myself. Again, I'm going to pull out my journal. At the back where I put my brain dump or ideate or idea dump, every day I forced myself to write 10 new ideas. And I mean every day. So after my 10-minute writing sprint, I would now just start jotting down different ideas, and it has to be new ideas, and it could be anything. And what I realized is that when I start writing down ideas, the new ideas that I come up with is actually stemming from an old idea. And I am just, you know, giving more and adding more to that previous idea. So if you guys see how all of my ideas grew and grew, these are all part of my idea dump. And more here. So now every time I feel like, I don't know what I'm gonna write today, I don't know what else I can add, I go back here and now I have a source of ideas to write. And another tip is to keep rewriting, keep brainstorming, doodle, you know, get that handwriting, get the hand active all the time so that all of your creative juices and your thinking is always working. And lastly, to borrow from, you know, a famous line in many of the cop shows, you know, when they say, step away from the crime scene. And my husband would say this, step away from the Mac. So step away from your device. Please move away, take a break, have a Kit Kat. So that has always been helpful for me. All right, so here's another way that we can organize our ideas, collect all the ideas that we have, questions that we have. Another way that I taught my kids to arrange or organize their journal is this way. So you could have your journal or a piece of your journal page, you can fold it in half, something like this. Or some of my really creative students, they draw squares in, as to have different divisions. So one of the squares will be where you are drafting. And as you are drafting, there are some new ideas that coming up in your mind. So now you write it here on the other square. And then another way to do this is this way. So again, some of my students, they really got creative. They have different boxes in their journal. They're drafting here. And then at one point they feel like, hey, you know what? I know how the character will look like. So they're going to doodle here, or they're going to sketch. Sometimes some of my kids who really don't know how to start or what they can write, they just like copy or rewrite, they write their names over and over. They copy their favorite quotes. So this is that area over here. And then of course, another area for your new ideas. While writing, while sketching, while doodling, you may have new ideas. And so here is when your thinking and self-management skills overlap, right? So you're now organizing your thoughts and also at the same time, thinking and developing your thinking skills. Okay. ATL number 3, social skills. If it moves. Okay, here we go. All right, so when we think of social skills, we're always, again, we're talking about, brainstorming with others, socializing, but these are the particular skills that, we can focus on. Practicing empathy and care for others, and advocating for one's own rights and needs and those of others. So when we talk about practicing empathy and advocating for others' rights or our own rights, these are the strategies that we can do. Get on social media, have the children or you as a teacher have all of this ready. What's Instagram? What's on Facebook? What's on Twitter? What are people talking about? Be aware of what people's concerns are, what are their challenges, what's hurting, different communities, but also what are people's current inspirations, what excites them, what's the new thing, or what's trending right now. Get on there and see what it is that people are dealing with right now. And then after being aware of what's there or what's in the world, your friends or even like your age group, now they can reply and contribute, right? So now we encourage them, if they are students anyway who are on Instagram, who are on Facebook, or are on Twitter, we can encourage them to reply and contribute to the world. So how can you empathize for somebody, or how can you advocate for someone, for others' right, So these are the ways that I know our children would love to participate, because they're always on their phones, they like getting on Instagram, they like getting on Facebook. So this is what we can do to help them develop their writing. If you're going to reply, you might as well reply to a bigger audience, right? And, practice that empathy and care for others. So here, as you can see, the social and communication skills overlap, because it is important that if we want to respond, our students need to understand that there is a certain way of writing your message so that it's clear and it's respectful. So we're going to go more into that later. Along with, getting on social media, let's talk about research skills. So this is when research skills come in. Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen this picture. It's quite popular. Anyone has seen this picture, familiar with this picture? It's quite popular. And it is because it is a fake picture. It looks very real. It looks like this important person is being arrested. And then, of course, came to know it's not real. Okay, so when you are out, when you want to advocate for something, or when you want to show empathy for others, what we want to teach our children is to be aware whether it is fake or real. So now we are talking about evaluating, analyzing all the information that we get. So this is the research and thinking skills, merge or overlap. Gather information from a variety of primary and secondary sources. Use critical literary skills to analyze and interpret information. So these are the skills that we want children to learn. These are our strategies. We need to teach them how to verify information. And that means that we look at primary sources, secondary resources, see whether they're all balanced out. And we need to teach them to look at it in different points of view. So says who? Who said that Trump is not a good leader? Is this person has a personal agenda? Do they have a political, a political attachment to one party compared to the other? What are people's biases? So these are the strategies that we want children to learn. Before you make, I remember this because it happened in my classroom when that story about Trump and how he's bad for America and he wants to be, everyone seemed to, the media is showing that he's a bad president, he's not a good president. So that was a really rich conversation in my classroom. I said, says who? Who says that he is a bad president? And now let's verify that. What other information do we have that the media is not showing? And also who media, which news station or which newspaper? And then we have to compare that. Yeah, so here, this is our research and thinking skills overlapping. Okay. Now that we have all of the resources, now we know that our sources are credible, and now we know that we really need to advocate for something, we support a certain group. Now we want to communicate our opinions, and this is when communication skills are now being developed. So if we want our students to share opinions, first they need to listen actively. Like I said, a while ago, listen to stories, look at it from all angles. And then our students need to learn to use appropriate forms of writing for different purposes and audiences. State opinions clearly, logically, and respectfully. Okay, so now we want to build that communication skills. We want them to be out there participating. And the best way to teach the strategy to teach students that, you can share your opinions, you can sympathize with others, but make sure that your writing is clear. And so these are the strategies that I use, that we have been using in my school to make sure that their message is clear. The 6+1 good writing traits and the writing process. And here it is. So I really like this image of the writing process because it also gets into the 6+1 traits of good writing. So if you guys see the ones in red, these are all the good writing traits: content and ideas, organization. And what I did was I added the process of writing. So before they even type their answer, or, unless they are really good and they have practiced, just responding on the dot, on Twitter, on Instagram, brainstorm first. Like, what is it that you want to say? Are you sure this is the opinion or the side that you are taking? Once you have brainstorm or these ideas, have been there and they have written it down, now we have to teach them how to organize it. So how do we teach them how to organize all of these ideas? This is the essential question. What do I want my readers to take away? What do I want my readers to understand? Is it really, this is the message that I want to convey, or do I want to convey a different one? So here are all, we are drafting on this side, we are ideating. And then finally, we start writing. And when we start writing, or our students start writing their pieces or their replies, think about, allow them to think about, how do I want to convey my message? Do I want to sound serious? Is it something serious? Is it something funny? Are you trying to be sarcastic about it? Or are you turning this into a funny story? So this is when the students start to learn find out their own voice. What is your tone? How do you want to respond to this? So now we're going to keep drafting, write our first draft, and then we're going to start editing. So once the students have a first draft, now the editing and revising, as you guys can see, it just goes on and on. So back and forth, I'm going to edit it. I want to see whether, did I use the correct word, or is there a better word to say it? Because I feel like it's not capturing it. How are my sentences? Are they arranged? Are they organized correctly? Or am I going to lose my audience? Am I not clear because of the way my sentences are? Conventions. Punctuations, I'm not sure how many of us have seen all of those reels where the punctuations are all placed wrong, right? It matters. But this all, if you guys can see, the conventions part, the grammar part, the sentence fluency, all of this comes in editing and revising. So this is what we teach the students, let's edit this, let's revise, have someone to work with, see what your peer will say. Does it make sense? Okay, so this is the communication skills that we are developing. It's just being clear about our message. Okay. All right. So here is the summary of the 5 ATL skills, how we are cultivating it, how are we developing these skills through writing. And, I hope that you guys have taken away some stuff. I think if you ask me, one of the biggest takeaway that I have was the self-management skills. I didn't realize that there's a lot of organizing that's happening when you are, going through writing. And that is it from me. Does anybody have any question, or would you guys want to share something? Oh, Flona, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Loris. That was really inspirational. Because what I want to say is, see, we have to go down to the basics, right? Pen and paper is something it's very difficult for us. I mean, as educators, right now there is we have the tabs and the Mac and all. As you said, stay away from the Mac, because it's very tempting to get shortcuts and quickly do a Google search and and what we can prepare lessons like in 5 minutes versus brainstorming and all that. So that's what I like. You help us go down to the basics, like pen and paper. And another thing, okay, I forgot what I wanted to say. Yeah, I'll come to it when I remember. I just wanted to say something else also. Yeah, you do it first. When you said you do it first, I think that's something that's also very important, right? We can't expect something from others if we don't try it ourselves. And that goes to every aspect of life, right? So from your personal experiences, which is an inspiration for students, I was going to come to the point of preliminary skills. Like, for example, if a child does not have the vocabulary to express himself, but he has a lot of ideas, but he doesn't know what words to use, then what? But then when you spoke about the writing process, you did address it through editing, through read alouds, where they get inspiration. See, there they're getting exposure to different words and, which they can include in their writing. So along with your 10-minute writing sprint, even on a daily basis or most of the days in a week, if the teacher focuses on these skills separately, that will empower them and equip them to write. Yes. We have like a new word corner or a vocabulary corner in the class where, maybe the children can get words that they have found.
Yes,
and you can visit those words, for example. Right. Then these preliminary skills are also important because that's how we also grew up, because there are positives in the way we were also taught, though we were taught in our childhood through the traditional approach. There was a time when the teacher said, okay, underline this word, find the meaning of this word, write it in your book, make a sentence with this word. So that's how we learn to apply, right? Yeah. So there's a lot from what we also learned which we can apply in today's teaching and learning. Yeah. Thank you, Loris. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. This is a nice summary of the whole thing. So thank you so much.
Are there any other members of the audience group who would like to share some insights? Anything that you would have done in a similar or a different way? Any takeaways from the session that you would want to share?
Priya Darshini wrote it on the chat, and thank you for sharing that. She said that it's, a lot of us have been doing ATL for a while now, but I'm glad that, there's a new perspective on how we can use it or how we can develop it, especially through writing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would add on to what Flona said.
Hello, Loris. Good evening. Amazing session. Because truly we do ATLs. ATL is one of the pillars of IB, as you have rightly pointed out. But concentrating and integrating ATL secularly through writing, it is absolutely a brand new concept to me. So really, really tremendous learning from this. So thank you to
Thank
this organization and to you. I have learned a lot, indeed. And obviously, as you all might want to know, Loris is my colleague. Every time we meet her, there is always a takeaway. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Priyadarshini.
Anyone else who wants to share something? Okay, going back to what I was adding on to what, I just had to agree to what Flana actually said, that do it with your students, do it yourself first, because if you become the inspiration, I think there's nothing beyond it. They always look forward to their teachers. Parents always have this say that, they would not listen to me, my kids would not listen to me, but would listen to you being the teacher. So let's all join hands and do it together for, for our students, our learners. And I believe writing is nothing to do with the subject. So all of us coming from different fields, teaching different subjects, can talk about this writing sprint as Loris has expressed today. I think I personally also maintain a journal, but I draw. But however, this inspires me to start writing because, as you said, you can be as ridiculous as possible. So why not be ridiculous and start writing? Let no one judge me. That is the kind of attitude that we all must carry, that let no one judge me. I have my own ways. I should start expressing myself. Expression is the key. And I believe there's a great insight into the strategies that you've helped us with to develop young learners to work and develop multiple skills along with mastering the skill of writing only. We talk about critical thinking, we talk of communication, we talk of their research skills. Multiple skills do develop simultaneously, and of course there is an overlap every time. So for bringing this into the classroom, I'm sure each one of us is going to do our bit and take our steps to bring it to the learners and also be able to spread it to other educators as and when possible. However, with respect to ATL skills, at any point of time you feel that you need some more help, you need somebody to give you an insight on how could it be integrated into your regular teaching learning practices, how could it become part of your teaching, everyday teaching, then I believe Shiminli is here to partner. We are here with multiple ideas, multiple resources, and educators who are sitting across the globe to support us, help us, show us ways in order to bring ATLs into the classroom. So looking forward for you all to connect with us. Loris, if you could move to the last slide, or the audience could quickly get our email ID and write back to me, and we'll definitely connect with you at the earliest possible. Loris, a big thanks to you for taking time out to plan this webinar, deliver it in the most beautiful way that you've done, and I'm really glad. I have a lot of takeaways from this session, and I'm sure everybody here has. We look forward to many more such sessions from you and from the other audience as well. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, audience. Have a great day, great evening ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.